Hello and welcome back to the third video of this series on how to use video conferencing software to communicate digitally with friends, family, colleagues or larger groups. My name is Roselle Bowerman and these videos are made possible by Diversity Resource International. In the last video, we learned about the importance of privacy and security considerations when using digital communications. The important thing to keep in mind with privacy is to be mindful and sensitive when sharing information, just like you would be to a face-to-face conversation. Understand that some people might be fearful of this type of communication. And the most important thing for you as a host is to reassure your guests. Assure them that they can trust you and that you will do your best to keep the information private. Make them feel comfortable with the digital environment and safe, and let your personality do the rest. When you're using Zoom professionally, please get familiar with the GDPR rules within your industry so that you can protect yourself and you can keep your guests assured. And lastly, look at the security settings on the platform that you're using. Just by adding 1 or 2 security features, you can minimize your risk of being breached and feel much more safe and secure. The digital environment can be very daunting because you're tasked with doing many roles all at the same time. And the pressure is on, especially when you're hosting a very important business meeting or a large webinar or conference. Sometimes you're taking on the role as technician, cameraman, lighting specialist, host, speaker, entertainer, security guard, and the list goes on and on. So it can be very, very daunting. The more you use the software, however, the easier it gets and the more confident you become. In this video, I'm going to show you how to prepare for these type of meetings in advance to take the stress a little bit out of it. We're going to look at camera position and lighting to get you looking your best. And then I'm going to show you how to send out scheduled invitations using Zoom to invite your guests. So let's get started.
Welcome back again. I'm doing the next session on my laptop because I want to be able to demonstrate to you how lighting affects your meetings. Before we continue, I want you to know that the next session is not essential or necessary. It is more useful and helpful if you have professional meetings like interviews or webinars, or you want to have professional recording sessions and you want yourself to look your best and be confident, but also you want your guests, and then you can give them some advice and tips. I should also just mention that when you do go on an important call or a video call, always check your background or your video first. And similarly, if you're the host and you're recording an important meeting or a webinar, you can advise your speakers to test their cameras beforehand, and then you'll be able to see whether they need help with their lighting, or perhaps you would notice things in the background that you can ask them to remove. So I'll start by saying that the best lighting position is to have natural light coming in from the front. As you can see from my camera, I'm currently sitting with my laptop in front of a big window or French doors, which will give me the best and the most natural light source when you're having a Zoom conversation during the day. What you don't want is for the light to be behind you or the window to be behind you, because as you can see, it has the opposite effect and it actually casts so many shadows behind you that you can barely see my face. You also don't want the window to be ideally on the side, because as you can see, one half of my face is light and the other half of my face has got a shadow cast. So it would be exactly the same if I switched and sat with the window on my left rather than my right. The focus of the light shouldn't be on your face. The focus is actually on the camera. So whatever light source you're using, whether you're using natural sunlight or artificial light, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, always make sure that the light is reflected on the back of the camera. This way, you'll have the full effect of the camera light and you'll minimize those shadows in your face. Now, what do we do when we're in an environment where we don't have a window, or if it's in the dark and we need to create lighting. What we want to do is create the same effect that we would have from a window in front of us by using artificial light. So I'm going to show you 3 things you can do with artificial light to help you come across in your Zoom calls more professionally. What you'll need is a standard lamp or a desk lamp, such as the one I have at the moment. The purpose of a desk lamp is to create an additional light source in a really dark environment. So what I've done is I've taken that light and I've put it behind the camera so that it sort of simulates the natural light. So I'll show you the difference between the light on and there is the light off. So by just simply having a light behind your camera, you can make a huge difference to the video quality. Another quick tip is simply to adjust the lighting on your device, so your computer or your laptop or your phone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch the light off behind me. Just by turning up the lighting on the computer, you can see that can make a huge difference. And sometimes people's devices are naturally switched to the lowest dim without them even realizing. So that's a quick way to adjust the lighting on you or your guests before you start your meeting or your recording. Final thing to do is to adjust the lighting in your Zoom controls whilst you're in a meeting. So to demonstrate that, I'm going to turn my lighting down again on my computer, navigate to my Zoom settings within the meeting, and by navigating to the video settings, you can click the button that says adjust for low light, and you can set it automatically, and the computer should take into consideration your background and adjust it accordingly, or you can set it to manual and adjust it manually to suit you. And so you can play around until you have the ideal lighting for yourself or your guests just before you start your webinar or you go into your interview and you feel confident and you look your best. Now, the next thing to consider is camera position. The best camera position is to have the camera slightly above your eye level. So you want the camera to sit about here. When you're on a fixed device like a computer or a laptop that has a fixed camera, what you can do to get the ideal position, you can simply adjust your seating position so that you get that ideal position of the camera just above your eye level. But when you're on a mobile device, such as an iPad or a mobile phone, you can achieve the ideal position in 2 ways. You can adjust your mobile device by stacking it up on a stack of books so that it's in the right position, or you can adjust your seating position simply by adding a few cushions on your seat if you're too low, where you are looking directly towards the camera or slightly above, rather than looking down onto the camera. Now let's have a look at how you can improve the audio on a Zoom call. So there are 3 ways in which you can test your audio. The first way is to check the volume on the speakers of the device that you're using. If you're on a mobile device, turn up the volume on your mobile device. And if you're on a laptop, simply navigate to the notification bar, click on the volume or the speaker, and adjust your speaker volume from there. If you're experiencing problems with your sound or volume, the next thing to do is to make sure you have the correct speaker selected. You may have more than one speaker on the device that you're trying to use. What you need to do is type into the search bar
sound settings, select the sound settings. Once you're in your sound settings, you should be able to select the correct speaker if you have more than one speaker option. You can also test your microphone and go through any troubleshooting tips directly from these settings. The third option is to test your sound from the Zoom application. You can test your sound whilst you're in a Zoom meeting or in advance before you start your meeting. To do it within the meeting, navigate to the mute button on your left. Click on the test speaker and microphone. There you should be able to test your microphone whilst you're in a meeting. Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing. You can do this whilst you're in a meeting and simply mute yourself whilst you're testing your speaker. If you would like more audio settings and to change your speakers, you can click on audio settings. And here you can test your speakers again, your microphone, and have access to more audio functions. To test your audio outside of a meeting in advance, simply navigate to the settings on the top right-hand corner of your Zoom application and click on audio, and here you'll have the same options available to test your speaker, test your microphone, and make any adjustments to the rest of the settings, such as the background, and choosing the speakers that you would prefer to use if you have more than one option available.
You're ready to schedule your own Zoom meeting. This can be done from the Zoom web portal, the Zoom desktop application, and through calendar extensions. We'll cover the first two methods in this video. From your Zoom web portal, go to Meetings, then choose Schedule a Meeting. You can think of the topic like the meeting's title. Keep it short and simple, candidate interview, for example. Optionally, add details in the description box. Next, choose the date and time of your meeting, and after that, the duration, which you can select in 15-minute increments from the drop-down menu. The time zone will default to whatever you've chosen in your profile, but can be changed here if you'd like. Most calendars will adjust the time zone for those you invite if theirs differs from yours. If this will be a recurring meeting, check the box to reveal additional options such as the cadence of the recurrence, when it ends, etc. As you can see, the options change depending on your initial choices. Next, some Zoom account types can require registration. If this box is checked, those you invite will need to register with their email, name, and other optional questions. If you gave the meeting a description, it will also appear on the required registration page. This is less common, but may be selected when the host would like to gather participant data or a higher level of security is desired. A meeting ID is a number used to create a unique invitation link. It can be randomly generated, or you can use your personal meeting ID, or PMI, which always stays the same. Because anyone who has the information may be able to get into the meeting, be sure not to share either number widely or with those you don't intend to invite. Moving on, we have a few powerful security options. A passcode is a customizable set of 10 characters that users must have in order to join the meeting. A waiting room places all attendees in a virtual room until the host allows them in. Require authentication to join requires that users are signed into a Zoom account before joining, or as an added layer, sign into Zoom through a specific domain or group. Users with certain account types may also see encryption options here. In the next section, select whether you want the host and participants to begin the meeting with their videos turned on or off. Unless additional settings are selected, hosts and participants will be able to start and stop their videos at any time during the meeting. Following this, you'll see audio options. Select if participants can join using their computer's audio, telephone audio, or both. And that's it. Once you press save, your meeting is officially scheduled. From this screen, you may take steps to add the meeting to the calendar of your choice if you have one, and access the invitation details. If ever you need to retrieve this information or modify the meeting before it starts, simply return to the web portal, click Meetings, and you'll be presented with buttons to start, edit, or delete the meeting. You can save your favorite meeting settings as a template. Click Edit, then scroll to the bottom and choose Save as Template. Find and use it anytime in Meetings, Meeting Templates. Note that if there are any settings or options from this demo that you don't see or recognize in your own web portal, this is because you have a different role, account type, settings, or permissions. Scheduling Zoom meetings in the Zoom desktop app is very similar to scheduling within the web portal. From the home screen, click Schedule. A dialog box of options will appear. All of these options are the same as we covered in the first part of the video, with just a few exceptions. First, there's no description field in the desktop app, as it's meant to be an even faster experience. Second, you can add the meeting to your device's calendar or other calendars during scheduling with the click of a button. Additionally, here the meeting options are found within the collapsible Advanced Options section. Lastly, you can't require registration here. You've got to do that in the web portal.
This is the easiest way to schedule your Zoom invitations in advance. There are also other ways through your Google Calendar or Outlook Calendar, but that will be a video for another future session. In my next video, I would like to share some common troubleshooting tips when using video conferencing software and discuss some of the common problems that occur sometimes when you're in a Zoom meeting and how to overcome them. See you in the next video.